welcome to the Kapow Super Special.
So which one are you guys going to pick?
What's this now?
The soup or the special?
Oh, I'm going to go with the special.
No,
Yeah, you are.
no, guys, it's not soup or special. It's super special. We're at Supanova and we're going to look at a whole bunch of Superman comics. It's super special.
Yeah, but can't we just have a look at the super box anyway? It looks pretty cool.
It's pretty good. I gotta
No!
say.
We're doing some Superman comic reviews, we're looking at the Man of Steel movie and Superman Unbound animated movie and looking around Supanova. So there is no time for Ray and his stupid box.
You know what? I try to do something special. I make this myself. It took a lot of time and effort. Fine! I'm out of here!
Oh, look what you've done now. We are never going to find him in this place.
Ray!
Right.
Ray!
I want to know what's in the box.
Uh-oh.
What's in the box? As with any new Scott Snyder title, I was pretty much pacing the walls, waiting for the first issue of Superman Unchained to come out. My mind was full of questions, about the plot, about the villains, about when Superman was actually chained so that he could now be unchained in this comic.
Yeah, I think you're taking that a little too literally.
Yeah, I have a tendency to do that.
Yeah, but you do make a good point. Scott Snyder tackling a Superman story, especially when he's working with Jim Lee, Dustin Nguyen, and Scott Williams, creates a lot of expectation. But what is this story about, I hear you cry? Well, a number of satellites have plummeted towards Earth, and as usual, it's up to good old Supes to catch them. But that's just the start of the story,
Yeah.
and of course it does lead to a lot of really interesting questions. One of them being, well, who made the satellites crash in the first place?
Very good question. Now, besides story setup, this also reintroduces us to the standard cast of characters. Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, and evil mastermind Lex Luthor all pop up. The dialogue is believable and snappy, and the characters, even Lex, are immediately endearing.
And they all look great as well, as you would expect from Jim Lee. One of my big beefs with this was the big fold-out page in the middle.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's very impressive
Yeah.
when you fold that out. It's a nice big image, but I don't necessarily want to be worried every time I'm opening the comic that I'm going to tear something.
Exactly. Look, honestly, my main problem with this comic is that it's just a very good Superman story. Look, when I get hold of a title by Snyder, I want a game changer. I want a character change up. I want to read that comic going, oh my God, I have never thought about this before. And I didn't get it in this. All I got was an incredibly well-written, beautifully illustrated Superman story. And that's great. You know, that's fine, but I don't think it needed its own title. Ultimately, I'm giving this one a borrow.
Okay, look, I do understand what you're saying. I do. I think there's an element of being a victim of your own success for Scott Snyder. You do kind of expect him to reimagine the genre
Exactly.
with every new title.
Yep.
But I think it's all too easy to judge him harshly when he doesn't. I think, for me, I was in largely the same place as you, but I think that's because I'm not the biggest Superman fan out there. I think for anybody who does like Superman, they're going to love this comic,
Yeah,
because
I agree.
it's really well written. It looks fantastic. It's got that bit at the back done by Dustin Nguyen. There's so much in there that I think fans are going to love. So based on that, I'm giving it a buy. I think
Awesome.
that's only fair.
Yep.
All right, we're here at King's Comics, ready to go and see Man of Steel. Al, where's Sonia?
Yeah, well, Supernova, she was going nuts thinking, I've got to get an autograph from Raymond E. Feast.
Yeah, she's crazy.
Yeah, she couldn't get it, so she's still trying to hunt him down.
Okay.
I'm confidently predicting at some point we'll get a call from the cops. So
Right.
until then,
Well, luckily we have Adela from Planet of the Capes.
Hi, guys.
Adela, what are you expecting going into the film?
I'm looking forward to lots of old Superman,
Yeah.
the one that I've come to know and love, with
Yeah.
a little bit of new explosions.
Okay, Al?
Well, I think we're going to see a turn towards a slightly darker Superman. I think if that's where we've seen that movies have been turning these days, I think that's what we're going to be seeing.
Yeah, from the trailer it looks very philosophical. I haven't seen too much, haven't read too many reviews, I'm staying fresh.
Yep.
All right, let's go and see the film.
My father believed if the world found out who I really was, they'd reject me. He was convinced that the world wasn't ready. What do you think?
Wow, we've just come out of Man of Steel. All right, Al, you start. Thoughts?
I was pretty majorly disappointed. Did not much enjoy this. I mean,
what aspect?
I think in terms of action and special effects,
Yeah.
it's among some of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
And that's what a lot of people are going to be going to see it for. But frankly, with the plot that it had, the dialogue that it had, and the massive holes throughout the story that it had, I just didn't have a reason to care about the action.
Okay.
I don't often check the time during a film. I did during this one.
Whoa. Okay. Ardella, what did you think?
Well, ouch. I really thought that it was very much a sci-fi movie rather than a Superman film. It felt like War of the Worlds with Superman thrown in.
Yeah.
Just for added measure. It didn't really hit me as a comic book movie.
All right. Okay. Well, yeah, I can understand what you're saying there. I actually quite liked the Otherworld aspect of it. I thought it was quite well done. Yes, it was clunky at times, I thought. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought I had a really good time. In fact, I want to go back and see it again. What do you think fans will think? Is this a fan pleaser?
You know what? Oddly enough, I think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going in looking at this as a film overall, not necessarily as a comic book film, and that's maybe why I felt that it was lacking. Because I think if people are going in looking for a big sort of comic extravaganza, they're probably going to really enjoy this. I mean, for one thing, they beat the Avengers in terms of buildings destroyed. There was pretty much an entire city leveled in this, and I think that level of action is something that a lot of people are looking for when they go into a comic book movie. Okay. So I think there is going to be a large portion of the fan base that is going to be satisfied by it.
Yeah, okay. Adela?
I think that it's definitely a film that's going to have you either loving it or hating it when you come out of it. You're never going to be right in the middle. Yeah. If you're liking the new Transformers movies with all of the Michael Bay explosions and things, this movie's really going to satisfy because it's got all of that. But it doesn't harken back to the good old Superman. So if you're going into it expecting that, you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, right. I didn't like the Transformers films, but I didn't think this was. I didn't think this was, particularly. I wouldn't put them in the same category, but that's just my opinion. But I think that fans will enjoy it a lot. I'm not sure how it relates to the canon and everything else, but I think some people the purists, in terms of an origin story, I think they might have a few bones to pick with it.
Probably,
but. But hey,
I certainly did have a few bones with some of the liberties that they
Yes.
took. There was an attempt to shoehorn in a tragic character defining moment that doesn't exist in the comics, and that really made me angry. I'm like, you know what? He's not Batman. Don't try to make him Batman. That made me kind of angry, and that was the beginning of the end for me in that film when that scene happened.
All right. Well, do you think that this is a step in the right direction towards a Justice League film?
Well, we know that's something they want to do.
Yep.
Obviously, that's the end game. But they've kept running up against hurdles in this, trying to put it together.
Yep.
And I don't know that this will get them closer. I don't know that Cavill's going to be the guy that is their Superman in the Justice League film. He could be, but it does depend on so much on getting the rest of them together, and that's going to be a hard slog. And I don't know that this has brought us closer.
Okay. Adela?
Yeah, it's definitely very dependent on who they get to do the other characters in the Justice League. I don't know if this Superman is the strong, powerful leader that the Justice League needs. Maybe the Batman needs to be the leader of the Justice League, or a Power Girl. It happened in the comics. There you go. And we've never had a movie with those lesser-known characters in them. So it'd be really interesting to see some of them sort of slotted in.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, look, the one problem I had is a fan mentioned this actually, or someone who just saw the film, and that it didn't quite belong to the same worlds as some of the other worlds set up by DC. So I question whether this is the same. It can happen in the same space as what has been established here.
I think. It's possible this could be the first one, and they bring the others in to populate this world.
Yeah.
Because certainly it doesn't match up with the sort of Batman Begins, the Nolan Batman.
Yeah.
But I think the Nolan Batman's done.
Yeah. Right.
I don't think he's going to be the Batman that comes in for the Justice League. Not a chance.
Okay. Well, that's what we thought.
Yeah.
Here's what some of you thought.
That was awesome. Yeah. Really better than I thought it would be, and I was pumped.
I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah.
I thought the Zack Snyder side of the film I really enjoyed. It was visually really engaging.
Yeah, it was really good. A lot of action, so it was quite entertaining. Happens with a lot of Supermans that not quite enough action.
Yeah.
And they just get a little bit boring. So I think it's something good for the franchise for once.
It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Metropolis is going to need some major renovations.
I think so.
Loved it.
Yeah.
It's so aesthetically beautiful. Awesome. Yeah.
Look, I didn't really like it, I'm afraid, yeah.
What didn't you like about it?
I think Zack Snyder's got a really very stylized habit with films, which works for a lot of things when he's got his own. I mean, not 300 was an adaptation, but the visual material was so definite, and Superman, there's so much material he could have gone for, and I understand the desire to kind of explore more of the alien aspects and get rid of things like the crystals, which I personally agree with, but I just think that there was too much of... It got too far into Michael Bay territory for me.
I was skeptical when I heard reviews comparing it to like a bigger visual spectacle than Avengers, but that was a good description.
Do you think this is the Superman film that we've all been waiting for?
Yeah, especially after the other one, Superman Returns. I think I left a bad taste in everyone's mouth, but this is a nice breath of fresh air, I think. This is great, I think. I think, for me personally, I think it's Zack Snyder's best film.
I still think they get some things wrong, and there are some directions that they probably could have taken it better, but I think it's one of the best that we've seen from them in a really long time, so it's a step in the right direction.
He did the action really well. It was explosive and it was really impactful. It was so similar to the Superman canon. I mean, he stayed very close to the comics.
Awesome. Looking forward to the sequel?
Definitely, and Justice League movie if it happens. Oh my god, that'd be so good.
All right.
I struggle to see how a film that's put together the way that film would fit into a world that's coexisted by other characters like Batman and Wonder Woman. It seems so wanton with its destruction and so sort of clear in its Go America, and that's not really where Batman sits, and it's not really where the other DC characters sit, whereas for me, you watch most Marvel films, and even though they're directed by different people, you do sort of get the sense that they exist within the same world. And I feel like even if this is just relaunching Superman and there's no attempt to actually get a Justice League movie happening out of it, I feel like what they've set up here sort of has taken care of Superman's past so much that they haven't really left him anywhere really interesting to go from him.
Yeah. I'd give it a 9 out of 10.
Oh wow, yeah.
And Henry Cavill did a marvelous job as Superman.
There's no shortage of fun ways to empty your wallet at Supanova, and today we're going to have a look at a few more collectibles to help line your shelves. If you're looking for the Holy Grail collectible, this is the kind of place where you can find just that. I found something very special. This is a Jetfire Generation 1 boxed, awesome condition. I'd love to get my hands on this piece. It's around the $500 mark, but for those of you who collect Transformers, you know just how difficult it is to get a Generation 1. But if that's too much, if that's out of your price range, there's other options. You've got the Indiana Jones figures, G.I. Joe, Doc Ock, all around the $10 mark. It's awesome. It's awesome. Let's go have a look at something else. So this is something I found, the Gollum Enraged statue. I think it's a fantastic piece. There's a beautiful amount of movement through it. I mean, look at the balance of this figure. It's by Weta Collectibles, and you might remember in season 4 we also reviewed the Bilbo statue. So if you put them both together, you get a wonderful companion piece here for your shelves. Star Wars, yeah. Bantha and Tusken Raider, Landspeeder, Y-Wing, all originals. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, guys, if you're looking for something a little different as a collectible, perhaps something to wear, these guys here at Find Your Collectibles make everything. Armor, weapons, helmets, masks, medallions, you name it, fantastic stuff. You've got Mass Effect helmets, Halo. All right, guys, my pick of Supanova has come down to this. It's slightly over the median price point, but this diorama certainly tells a story. It's by Gentle Giant Studios. Now, these guys specialize in digital scanning, sculpting, and modeling. Last year, they celebrated a decade in the business, so they've been around for quite a while. If you don't know of their stuff, they've got an awesome collection of mini busts, and they also have a large range of other collectibles, such as the Star Wars chess set. I'm a little annoyed I missed out on that one. That was a rare collectible. And also at the moment, they've got these honey trap army figures. They're a little different to what you might expect, but they are awesome. Anyway, back to this particular statue. What better foe for Superman to face than fellow Kryptonian Zod? Straight away, I'm impressed with the detail in Zod's suit and the way Superman's cape is furled on the ground. There's plenty of detail in the base too, though there's not a lot to it. Movement-wise, I'm quite happy with the stance of both Superman and Zod, although with Zod it's a little difficult to gauge his velocity. Now, I know that might be a little odd thing to say, but with figures on wires and pegs as such, it can be difficult to sort of transpose that into believable action. Superman fares better because he's grounded and we catch him the moment before action. The interesting thing with this figure though, if you decide to change the angle from which you look at it, it evokes a completely different feeling upon the scene and the story taking place. For example, from over the shoulder of Zod, we see Superman mid-decision. Interestingly enough, Zod's attack is a whole lot more credible and the stand is no longer in focus. So too is the scene if you reverse the angle, and in this case you get the terror of Zod raining down on our hero, and again, the stand isn't an issue. Now I have to note the eyes and the face because Gentle Giant have their own distinct way of capturing expression. It's often softer and subtler than many other brands in the same class. I'm still amazed though how much life that they capture through that simplicity. So I went back and forward on this one a little bit. It's a bit of a creeper. I think if you put it on your shelf, it's gonna grow on you more and more. I think you'll love it more over time. That said, I'm still gonna give it a borrow. Look, if you get a statue like this in your possession and it has pegs, stands, wires holding them into place, I would suggest getting some kind of backdrop in place, and that way it doesn't make it as prominent. Those stands are going to disappear. I suggest in this particular figure getting a black and white sketch of Superman. Personally, I'd probably go for some kind of grey cityscape. It would match the story, and at the same time, that grey would make the figures pop a whole lot more. So that's my pick at Supanova. Alright, well, we can't do a Soup special without taking a look at an animated Superman, so we're here tonight to see Superman Unbound. Very excited. Sonia, initial thoughts?
Oh, look, I'm just really excited about this one. Like, I like seeing a bit of Superman action, but honestly, it's all about Lois Lane for me. I want to see how they've interpreted her in this one.
Awesome. Al?
It's always interesting to see. I'm looking forward to, Brainiac's in this one.
Yeah,
so,
very
you know,
cool.
you're going to have Supes punching on with somebody on the same power level.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's always a good bit of fun as well.
Yeah, well, after Dark Knight Returns Part 2, I'm excited to see what they're going to bring at us this time. So, yeah, let's go on in.
We were helpless. Our army threw everything we had at them, but they were unstoppable.
All right, I've just come out of Superman Unbound, the latest DC animated film. Guys, initial thoughts, what did you think?
Look, it's very entertaining. It's very light. It's maybe a little cheesy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was entertaining to watch. I didn't mind it.
All right.
Yeah.
Al?
Yeah, look, I think there's certainly a lot of fun to be had there. I think it's definitely one they wanted to get out before the Flashpoint one.
Yeah.
Because I think that's going to herald a bit of a turn into the darker area. So they did want to get this story out because it's pre-New 52. It is a bit of fun. I agree the dialogue does border on the quite painfully cheesy at times.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think that's all part and parcel of it. It's about a certain era and it is just a fun era that it's trying to do.
Yeah, it is a lighter piece, but at the same time, I thought it could have gone a little darker, could have ventured into something. I mean, you've got, Brainiac. I'm not completely familiar with the universe, and I thought that he was, quite an awesome, ominous sort of character, and I thought they could have gone a little bit further into that. And some of the story arcs crossing over, I thought was a little jarring at times as well. With even though I enjoyed the introduction of the Supergirl there, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it worked. It was a nice way to sort of add in a character and build on the relationship there. Yeah.
And it also makes it more than just a Superman film. Like, you get a feeling of what it was to be Kryptonian and that kind of, you get a different idea of the destruction of Krypton with Supergirl there as well.
Yeah. Did you think that this was a wise story arc to choose? Or?
Oh, well, I think certainly in a way, I mean, Brainiac is one of the Superman villains, you know, and he's somebody who can actually stand toe-to-toe with him. It's not like a Lex Luthor who maybe is superior to him in an intellectual sense, but can't face up to him physically. Yeah. Brainiac can go toe-to-toe with him, and I think that makes him a good candidate for this sort of animated feature.
And do you think that then, Superman fans will be happy with this, Sonia?
I think so. I mean, some Superman fans may have issues with the fact that it was a little lighter, and having somebody like Brainiac being the big bad in this, he wasn't as dangerous and he wasn't as ominous as I've seen Brainiac be in the comic book. So I wonder, they might be a little bit they could have pushed it a little bit harder, but I think overall it did encapsulate that wonderful kind of joyousness that you get when you read Superman. It was kind of funny, it was You know, there was some cheesiness to it. It was good. I think they'll be pleased.
So what did you think of the film?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I had the opportunity to read the comic story that it was based on beforehand.
Oh, great.
And I think they really developed the story more and added a lot more elements to it. And yeah, it was really, really good.
Oh, actually, it was really, really good. I was really surprised. I liked it a lot.
Excellent. And you?
Yeah, I really liked it. It was really different from the other Superman cartoons we've seen.
I thought it was really fun.
Yeah?
John Noble's voice as Brainiac was really ominous.
Yeah,
I think it really complemented the drama and the conflict between the two. It was great fun, a lot of action.
Look, I think it was a good kids film, definitely. But because I'm not a huge DC fan, I think that sort of hindered my opinion of it somewhat. I found it at points to be a little bland and borderlining on boring. That being said, though, I am a huge John Noble fan, and him playing Brainiac was just fantastic because I love Fringe, and I also loved him as Denethor in Lord of the Rings as well. Great voice acting, I think, across the board from everyone.
With Matt Bowman as well as Superman.
Exactly, he was actually pretty decent. But I think the problem for me is that Superman is such a kind of a rigid character that you can't really do a lot with him, like even in a kids film or an adult film or what have you.
I thought it was all right. I kind of found some points a bit slow, but I feel the best moments were like the human moments, like the character moments, like with Lois and Kara's parents and the people from The Office especially.
Do you think that was an interesting choice of story arc to tackle?
I've always liked Brainiac, but Brainiac's one of those characters that I don't think a lot of writers really know what to do with or how to treat. And this was a good Brainiac story. It sort of was the defining Brainiac story of what this character was, what this villain was, what it meant to Superman as well. And basically made him a credible threat.
I think it's a pretty well-rounded story. I mean, I'm not 100% on my Superman stuff, but you know, it did, you know, the kitschy bottle of Candor stuff. You know, it's a great story, and it's a great Jeff Johns story, I think.
I think if you've never seen a Superman film or anything before, then you should go see it. But I personally, for me, just felt a little bit bland, a little bit boring, I'm afraid.
I did like the voice work. I didn't particularly like the design.
Oh, you did?
For
I
some,
thought it was quite cool.
I don't know. I think it was just his chin.
Oh yeah,
his chin got me.
It's like Banana Man.
It was just something about his chin that got me.
There was nothing in that movie that you needed to know before to see the movie. Hopefully this is no spoilers. Supergirl shows up.
Yes.
But that's quickly explained. And then there is the origin of Brainiac. There is the origin of what Brainiac did. So it's not all of a sudden like, oh yeah, I know Brainiac, I fought Brainiac before, or I've got this thing in my fortress that Brainiac took care of, or anything like that. There was no Brainiac in Superman's world when Brainiac shows up, and they explain that all. Awesome. So any kid watching this movie who's a Superman fan will be able to watch this and go, oh, okay, now I know who Brainiac is.
If you have a kid, take them to the movie by all means. It's definitely a kids' film, I think.
At a stately 75 years of age, Superman has had his origin story rebooted more times than pretty much any other character. But what an origin story. You know, the sole survivor of a dying planet shot off into space like a tiny alien Moses with laser eyes.
Yes, it's one way of looking at it. It certainly is a very individual origin story, but nonetheless, every few years a new writer will come along who wants to have their own try at reimagining the legend. And that's certainly not a bad thing, because it has given rise to some of our best Superman stories, I think. And this being our super special, we've decided to take a look at a few of those origin stories in a segment that we're calling Superman Begins.
No, we never actually agreed on that because it's silly.
You're silly.
It is. But we're not going to look at these titles in any particular order, but we are going to start with the oldest. Superman for All Seasons. From the award-winning team of Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, this was always going to be a book worth reading.
Yeah, this partnership is known for their poignant character portraits in works like Batman Dark Victory, Spider-Man Blue, and Daredevil Yellow. Superman for All Seasons again finds a quiet and personal way to approach a well-known character, telling a story that is essentially a love triangle between Superman, Lex Luthor, and Metropolis. I also found that this book brought home the loneliness of being Superman in a way that I haven't seen done as well before.
Yeah, and in a strange way, it's less a story about Superman and more about the supporting cast. You know, the people that helped Clark become Superman. I've got to say that the artwork is also stunning. There's an understated, old-school feel to the art that gives this story an innocence and a really simple beauty. I really love this book, and it's become a classic for a reason.
Absolutely, I agree completely. Now, next we'll look at another title from another one of the big names over at DC, the Jeff Johns penned Superman Secret Origin. In terms of tweaks on the formula, we have a bit of time spent on Clark Kent's teenage years, we have a young Lex Luthor, and an impromptu trip into the future, courtesy of the Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah, I wasn't really sold on the whole time travel chapter in this because it felt kind of tacked on and it didn't really go anywhere.
Apart from Into the Future.
Yeah, still, once we get to Metropolis, we kick right into a classic Superman tale with a nice focus on the military's initial fear of this alien that's shown up in their city. Gary Frank's art in this is very good, although I was slightly thrown by the fact that Supes looks exactly like Christopher Reeve in this book.
Yeah, he does, especially when he's in Clark Kent mode. None of the other character looks are taken from the movie, though, which I think is a good thing, because really, nobody wants a Gene Hackman-inspired Lex Luthor in the comics.
Never again.
I think, all up, this is it's a well-told story with a slight tendency towards cheesiness. Moving on, we have the latest of these Origin reboots with Superman Earth 1.
I have to admit I was a little concerned going into this one, considering how on the front cover they have a quote from the Hollywood Reporter saying that this was Twilight meets superhero fiction.
Yeah, now, I'm pretty sure they somehow meant that in a positive way. I'm not sure how, but they were unfortunately accurate, I found. As Clark spends the majority of this book moping about like a spoilt teenager whose dad just took his Xbox away. I found it really hard to connect with a character who's perfect at everything he tries, but still walks around with a face like a slapped backside.
Well, maybe that's because Clark does find all those things boring. I mean, ultimately, this is a story about Clark choosing responsibility over selfishness.
Yeah.
And he does end up in the one career that he doesn't find effortless, which is journalism. I agree that this isn't my favourite version of Superman, but I really enjoyed Shane Davis's artwork, especially when it comes to the invading alien horde. And now we come to the final title in our lineup of Superman stories, and one which I think we're both quite partial to.
Yeah, well look, I know I certainly was. Superman Birthright is written by Mark Waid, drawn by Laniel Francis Yu, and is apparently a large part of the inspiration for the Man of Steel movie. There's a really nice build in this book, leading up to Clark's decision to don the red underwear. Also, I don't know if I've ever felt the tragedy of the death of Krypton as I did when I was reading this.
Yeah, I have to admit, when I did close this book, there may have been a tear in my eye. Look, this is a very emotional book, and I have to admit, it did make me want to read a lot more Superman, which I find is actually quite rare. Yu's artwork has a great masculine feel to it, which you need for a Superman story. But what I like most about this book is the strong feeling of a lonely man just trying to find the place where he belongs. And ultimately, isn't that what Superman's about?
That's deep, dude.
Shut up.
Like right here.
Just...
Do you need a tissue or something?
I just need a moment, okay? Okay guys, that's it for our super special coming at you from Supanova.
Yes, and I think only one question really remains, and that is, what's in the box? Is that... That's just more soup.
Yeah, special soup. Corn, capsicum,
So wait. So the option was soup or soup?
Yeah, but you can eat the box.
Ah!
Oh God! You know what, guys? That's it from us until next season rolls around. But remember to keep following us on Facebook and Twitter, and we'll keep you updated with everything that's coming along.
Until next time, guys. Bye.
Some?
No.
I might have a little.
No. It's...
That is special.
Are you a little chewy?